thank you for coming for Firdaus' talk. I'm sure all of you know who he is. No? Okay. So just a short introduction about Firdaus. Firdaus is a second generation trishaw rider. His father started riding in the
1984.
In 1984, yeah, and he has been riding for
over 15 years now.
Over 15 years,
so,
yeah. I'll let him tell his story, but how we're going to do this is we're going to facilitate it as a question and answer sort of dialogue, and we also wanted to keep it very informal, to open it up to everybody, to also ask questions, because you're probably wondering about the life of a trishaw person. So just a short introduction how I met Firdaus. I work at the Baba Nyonya Museum on Jalan Tuntan Chenggok, and I always say that God introduced us. We've collaborated on his trishaw, and we're hoping to, it'll be the start of more trishaws that are restored back. So, okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my name is Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa, right? Thank you.
Okay. So there's 10 questions here, and these questions were actually posed by people on Facebook. And so I'll ask them on behalf of the people on Facebook.
Right.
So, Firdaus, how do you feel about being invited to give a talk for MH, the Malaysian Heritage and History Club?
Yeah, my thoughts are when I first invited to give a talk. Well, actually it relates when I first attended a talk. It was by Saida Rastam. So it was quite awesome. She was quite the scholar. And to be invited after attending one of the talks previously, where they invited Saida Rastam, and then to be invited myself, I felt like, wow, this is quite the privilege. I shouldn't waste this opportunity. So yeah, I was quite honored, really honored. So thank you very much for Bert and Melissa. So yeah, it was quite unexpected. I mean, like the word serendipity, is truly in order for this. Thank you.
What made you decide to be a Trishawman? Could you just share a little bit about your journey and how you started?
Yeah, well, how I started, I was very young at the time. I think I was only 14 years old to be exact. And I think it was during the economic turmoil in our country, economic problems. So my dad was not doing very well, and then it was the school holidays, and he was, I think, worried that I might mingle around the wrong crowd. So he called me to, it was just like, it simply happened one day. I woke up this morning after breakfast, and my dad told me, usually he would tell me, okay, go and wash my trishaw. But that very day, he told me, wash your trishaw. I said, what? My trishaw? Okay. So, and then he shoved a rag and a pail, and he told me to fill it with water and a bit of a shampoo, and just wash this strange trishaw I've never seen before. So he actually just recently bought it. And shortly after, I was cycling trishaw. And there was no training, there was no preparation, there was no introduction. So then I was just cycling along behind my dad. So it was like not something that I chose. I just did it. And I had a few accidents, and during my period when I was learning how to ride the trishaw, and I thought it was going to be easy, like a bicycle. So it was quite an experience, quite a shock to me. Then I learned by practice, I learned by my dad tagging along, and then at first I thought it was just a trishaw thing, like a taxi, taking from one point to the other. And then I realized it was more than that. When there's this one day, my dad took a British lady on a tour. So he was talking, and this lady, to me, growing up in, as a kampung boy, growing up in a rural area, we saw white people on television, right? So, to see one up front is something like, whoa. And then my dad started talking. And then the lady was listening. That image was so awesome. still is in my head, stuck that engraved in my head. And I thought to myself, that is what I'm going to do. Wow, talking is so cool. If you know the right way to talk, of course. Then, yeah, after I finished my schooling years, I think it was in the year 2000, I tried it, but doing it alone without my dad around can be quite tough. There's competition, there's peer pressure, and then, yeah, there's this difficulty of doing it yourself. And I was quite young at the time, and then I tried something else. But then, while I was trying something else, while I was doing other jobs, my head kept coming back. This image, my dad speaking to this British lady, and then it became like an addiction, like you have this particular scar at your tongue, and you just can't stop poking it. Although you know it's not going to heal if you poke it, but yeah, it's much like that. And after I quit this job, I went back to the Trishawman, and until today, yeah, I just honed my skills in talking. And with regards to the topic of talking, since Malacca has its niche in the tourism industry, which is historical things, so yeah, I started frequenting the museums and the libraries and the internet to get my sources. So, yeah. So I became a Trishawman guide. I would consider myself, I would market myself as a Trishawman guide, not just a Trishawman guide, because nowadays, particularly nowadays, I'm more to giving tours rather than a taxi, like sending one from one point to the other. So,
Were your parents happy that you choose to be a Trishawman?
Well, I don't think.
House is different as the year 1984.
Yes, true enough. But I don't think they have the luxury to choose an occupation for me, given the circumstances that my parents. My mom was married to my dad when my mom was 15 years. I think it was 14 years old. She gave birth to me when she was 15, and my dad was 20 or 21. So yeah. They didn't get that much education. They were, okay, there's this one story I've heard about how, village people, they all living in rural areas, how they teach the children how to swim. You just throw them into the water. So yes, it was much like what my parents suffered. So they were thrown into the real world. So they improvise a lot. They only do what they managed to do. So,
were your parents happy when you choose?
Oh, I didn't choose.
Occupation but you did. You decided, okay, I quit my job and I go back to the fashion.
Well, okay, good point. Within that context, yeah, sure.
Parents always want to say, oh, you have to study, you have to do this, etc. There's a different age now. Were they happy when you say, I go back on the street and I want to be a fashion designer?
Well, my relationship with my parents, there was not that many talks that we had together. So long as, to them, money is of the essence. So long as you have a job, they just don't care what job you do. So long as it's not, robbing a bank. So yeah. It was much more simple, less communication, more of a ritualistic way of life, where it's more of a dance than a singing thing. So we just do things. It just happens. Okay. So yeah.
Any
Question.
burning questions? Okay. Thanks. Okay. So the next question is, trishaws used to be a mode of transport for public. Today, trishaws play a different role, which I think also takes off from this lady's question. It's now a tourist attraction and a sightseeing vehicle around the town. In your opinion, how did that happen, and why did it happen?
It happened, I think it was during when, cruise ships started, stopping at Malacca and drop off their tourists to wander around Malacca town and sightseeing by themselves. It was when the first crowd of foreign tourists came down to Malacca, and at the time I personally think that these foreigners, they would think that rather than taking a taxi, might as well take a trishaw, a traditional means of transportation, which could be a lot cheaper than taking a taxi. And he just wanted to see what is in town, not somewhere further away. So I think that was when it started being something that is in line with the tourism industry. And it was only considered as a tourism product, I think, after 2001. The state government see it fit to regulate the trishaws, the growing number of trishaws at the time. So yeah, and that's when all the pricing starts to get regulated, and they need to register the trishaws. And nowadays they don't even register the trishaws anymore, they just require that the trishaw person will take a license. So does it answer the question? That how did it transition from a taxi into a means of that complements the tourism industry? So it was because there was a demand, then the thing that is already there became a supply.
Yep.
Can you tell some of your stories about Can you tell some of your stories about carrying different kinds of tourists? You mentioned British. Well, how about other nationalities? What were your experiences like?
Oh, my experiences like taking tourists from different parts of the world. Interesting. It is very interesting. I get different perspectives from people living in a place where there's no snow and there's only lots of sun. And I was introduced to a different way of thinking. I was introduced to a different way of living. I was introduced to different languages, and I was made a free thinker before I even knew it. You know, to think freely outside the bounds of, So when I was growing up, I always thought, I remember when I was growing up, I was living in a village area. They were all Malays. Very rarely we get to see Chinese and Indians, let alone Masalis, right? Foreigners, sorry. So, my first experience was when my family moved to Bandar Hilir. We were living at Bachang. So when we stayed at Bandar Hilir, I was studying at Bandar Hilir Elementary School. So yes, my playground used to be the Formosa area. That's when I saw, what is this country? Well, it was still Malacca, it was still my hometown. But yeah, and that was my first introduction towards different things in the world. People and different looks rather than just a single monotonous look that I'm used to when I was living in the village area. Then I started to do the trishaw thing. When I was, shortly after I came back, I think I was working for the shipping corporation called MIC. So after I quit the job, I came and do the trishaw thing, and I started to really pay attention to my customers. So, and that was when I truly realized that there's more things in this world than just Malaysia and Malacca. So yeah, it changed who I am. It changed who I am a lot. And today I think my native tongue is English rather than Malay because of that. So yeah, hope that answers your question. Does it? Specific interesting stories? There's lots.
Maybe we'll keep the questions to after we finish the 10 questions.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright. But if you think of any stories along the way that
will
you
do.
remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Are trishaw riders and passengers insured? Someone asked on Facebook. Should they be?
Well, that depends on the circumstances actually, because most trishaws, they only operate around the area where there are very few vehicles. Then But I think because of that as well, that I think the authorities in Malacca, they just would think that the trishaw folks, and because they have associations, right? In Malacca town, there are more than 200 trishaws now. And then there are 4 trishaw associations and 1 trishaw owners club. And considering that, I would think that the authorities would have had their homework with regards to that. I mean, like, they would assume that these associations would have their own group insurance. So it wouldn't make sense to, impose something like what a car would impose, like a car insurance. And plus, considering as well that they only mainly operate at areas where there are very few cars. So, yeah, no insurance.
This lady writes, as a parent, I won't want my child to be a Trishawman. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? And would you encourage your children to be Trishawmen? Also coming off from the question of, did your father encourage you? Would you encourage your children?
Well, no. Because the talking part is really fun, but the cycling part can be really tough. I really need to practice a lot, particularly talking when I'm cycling. The toughest part, really the toughest part. Yeah. I mean, like, right now I can't even talk properly without, standing or cycling. So, I mean, like, would I? No, I wouldn't. Because it's a tough job. Well, when there's a will, there's always a way. There are times when there are no customers at all, but because I utilize Facebook, I utilize WhatsApp, I utilize my emails, so I can sometimes get customers through referrals. But there are times when it is really bad, particularly during the fasting month. Oh, damn. So it can be really tough. And with regards to that, the inconsistency of it. I mean, if I saw my kid, he has other talents, like if my dad weren't given that circumstance when he was growing up and with what he is right now and what he's doing, he's really underprivileged. I mean, like, if he were not, I don't think he would want me to do this. But, and given my circumstance, I mean, like, I love talking, and apparently most people think that I'm good at talking, I hope. And but the only convenient means of me being able to implement this ability of mine and hone it, and at the same time, is through the trishaw thing, because that is the only window that I see where it is in line with what I really like. So would I? No. But under different circumstances, it's not that whether I want to or not, but it's a matter that I might not have a choice.
But so, someone says that on Facebook, he said that Trishaw men nowadays earn above 4K. Is that true?
Okay, sign me up.
4,000.
Yes, you should sign me up. I would like to quit my current job and do that job. What's that Trishaw? So, well, okay. Most Malaccans, most tourists in Malacca would have seen that most trishaws nowadays are heavily decorated, and they have their own set of prices. I mean, like, they also switch their prices during peak season and off-peak season, because they use this particular reasoning that if the trishaws can do it, why can't we? So yeah, I mean, like, I've heard that they can make up to 4K a month, but only during school holidays and the end of the year school holidays in particular. But yeah, peak season. But when you're using a trishaw like mine, you need to convince your tourist. There's 1 hour and a half convincing and just 1 or maybe half an hour ride. So it can be really tough to me personally, because I'm using this new form of trishaw that like reintroducing the old as something new. So you need to convince a lot. You need to do a lot of convincing to tell your customers that yours is different. And it can be quite a daunting task, particularly when you put your trishaw. If you've seen the picture of my trishaw, yeah, like, to have that trishaw among other trishaws other highly decorated Disney-fied trishaws. I mean, like, it's like a needle in a haystack, literally. So yeah, it's not impossible, but to me, it's really hard. So yeah.
Yeah, you also shared, I think a couple of weeks ago, that you had a particular strategy of hiding your trishaw.
Yes, I had to employ this embarrassing strategy where I would hide my trishaw behind a highly decorated trishaw, and I have this map where I have lots of pictures of historical places and a map that shows the places that I would take my customers to. So I would employ this really sneaky move where I would show them this interesting trishaw thing. As opposed to most trishaws, it was just mostly like a joyride. So I would tell them that if you hire me, I'll be like your guide and I'll be your driver at the same time. So when they are interested, I would just point out to my trishaw, which is behind that decorated trishaw. So yeah, it works. It works most of the time, but then it eats me up inside. I mean, like, I should be proud of this, doing this trishaw thing and making it. I mean, like, when my dad was taking that British lady, that caused me to have this impression that I wanted to do this if I don't have anything else to do. I mean, like, it's not that I don't have anything else to do. I don't see anything else that interests me, that is in line with earning a living. So, I mean, like, when my dad was taking that scene with my dad and the British lady, he was using the trishaw much like the trishaw I'm using now. So, I mean, like, would it be good? I have this guilty conscience that I shouldn't do that. So I finally decided to, man up and just put it out there. And I mean, like, wouldn't you show them my trishaw first? I would approach them like a salesman and introduce what I offer, the services I offer, and then I would show them my trishaw. If they want, then go ahead. But if they don't want, then I would call one of my friends who has a decorated trishaw and just point them to their direction. But losing customers really tough. It can be quite hard. It puts you down. I was sulking, like the first time I did that, I was sulking for about an hour. So, but then I got used to it. So the sulking period gets shorter. The period gets shorter and shorter. But yeah, interesting, isn't it?
Sorry.
The possibility to compete. It's maybe a little bit risky, but I think people appreciate it. If you don't ask for a fixed fee, you ask for donation. You give what it is worth. So people pay you what they think they got from you. And if you do a good job, and if you lost your job, I think people pay you the amount you're worth. I don't know about Asian countries so much and about especially here and the way of living, but some of the places people just invest. I just come from a place where I was on holiday, and they do it in a restaurant, and it's always full, and for years already. So people appreciate that they have a choice to give you what they think it was worth for them. If you do a good job, you pay the right time. Maybe you pay a double as the others. If you don't do a good job, you might say, oh, what did I do?
Maybe I should give that a try. I'll give that a try.
You don't need to try it for a month and then you stop, right? But you can try it for a week, just to see.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Doing it for a month, I'll be dead.
Yeah. But also the thing is people will talk about it and then it will come to you because they will find you because everybody else is asking.
With regards to that, I'm currently charging way cheaper than most other trishaws. The government price is 1 hour 40 ringgit, but most trishaws nowadays, they would charge around 25 ringgit for like a 20-minute ride. So mine is the cheapest in the market. And I think by far my service is much more diverse rather than just a joyride, than just being a driver. I'm like an informal guide as well. So yes, but still it can be tough at times because they see the trishaw first. Yeah. So, but it's not something, this does not mean that I'm going to give up. Because yeah, I'm not going to give up. I'm really stubborn. I was even born under the sign of the bull. So yeah. Yeah, true now.
Yeah, just coming to that, why did you want to restore the trishaw back to the original? Why did you have that vision given all the challenges that you do now?
True. Because price. Initially my trishaw was decorated, but because there were new trishaws coming, new trishaw guys coming in, they were, the competition got crazy, and then at the same time, the authorities were imposing license, right? But then there are newcomers who don't even have license, who won't even register at all, and then they were making more money because their trishaws were better decorated or whatnot. But still, it doesn't seem fair to me because I have a license. And then I started playing on prices. So I put the government price, like a simple board with some stickers on it, writing 1 hour for 2 ringgit, half an hour for 2 ringgit. But they were boycotting me, and they were doing sabotaging things to me and my trishaw. Every time when I wanted to approach a customer, they would run towards the customer. So it was ridiculous, and that's when I decided I need to change the look of my trishaw so that I have a strong enough point to say that my pricing suits the type of trishaw which is nothing like yours. It's not a decorated trishaw, it's a classical trishaw, so it fits the price that I'm making. So that was my initial intention of why I wanted to restore the trishaw to its original form. But that effort of mine, if I were to do it myself, it would take a lot longer. If I didn't meet Melissa, if she didn't introduce me to, that she was interested in getting a trishaw to be restored, she gave me the initial amount to restore it. I mean, like almost immediately, almost. So yeah.
But you were also trying to petition for all the trishaws to be actually restored back.
Well, initially, I met this guy who was the head of the Kamingsari Tower at the time. Now he's no longer there. So I was discussing with him about how to do a petition to remove the audio systems from the trishaw. Yeah, because it was so noisy. Sometimes it even disrupts me from talking, and talking while I'm taking my customer, and talking while I'm trying to get a customer to be attracted to my form of service. So I was fed up, and sometimes they even use the trishaw audio system to provoke other trishaw folks and to disrupt.
It's very annoying.
Yeah, it's very annoying. So that was when I met this person, Mr. Nazari, and he was the one actually who introduced me to Melissa. So yeah, and and then, well, the thought didn't came to me to make other trishaws classical or to convert it back to its original form. But after talking with Melissa, and she had that ideal in mind, and I think that would be quite lovely if we can do that. It would go in line with, it would go in line with what the niche of Malacca. It's like what the niche of Malacca is a tourism. Tourism, in the tourism industry, Malacca's niche is its historical element. And if we could possibly, in an ideal world, convert back all these structures to its original form, I mean, it would match everything perfectly. So yeah. So at first it was this audio system that bugs me really bad. Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculously loud. Well, I'm usually around. Yeah. So I have a card and I have my phone number. You can look me up on Facebook. And I'm usually around town. So yeah, maybe later I can give you my card. Cool. Thanks.
Okay, somebody asked on Facebook, what is your feeling that as a trishaw man you are labelled as one, not you specifically, but trishaw men are labelled as one of the lower class in society? How would you respond to that?
Well, the trishaw folks in general, they just don't give a damn. So long as they are making money, enough to sustain their family, that is what, in general, their mentality is. So yeah, but to me personally, being labelled as among the lowest class of society, damn, it's a blessing. You get to know more about people that way, because they know that you're a nobody, and then they will just show you their true colors in most of the time, not all the time, most of the time. So you get to see different facets of people and their behavior and their bias and then their motivations. I mean, part of me being who I am right now is because of this input, this diverse input about people. And when usually I'm much more raggedy than this, you see, and all the sweat and smelly. So I mean, like, they would just don't give a damn about all this facade and all. So they would just be themselves out there when they are, I mean, like, in contact with me in particular. So what do I think about being among the lowest class of society? Cool. So,
you have all intention to be like the original Trishawman. Okay, sorry, we've already answered that. What are the things that you think you can do differently to boost Malacca's tourism and understanding of Malacca by tourists and I guess even the locals as well? Yeah, how do you think that having an originally restored Trishaw would help? And I guess what's your vision for your community?
Trishaw folks in general?
Yeah.
Well, I had hoped that they would be more than just a Trishaw guide. They would be more than just, doing joyrides, which seems quite shallow. I mean, the potential is that they can be like an in-town guide, providing a service and a convenience at the same time. And I mean, if they are willing to, go the distance and go to the museums, I mean, like, if you say to the museum that you're a Trishaw guide, they would let you in for free. I mean, that's already a privilege in its own way. I mean, like, if they would go the distance and, get the proper knowledge and proper training, they can go far. And it would be something that is in line. I mean, not just, you don't even have to go and find customers anymore. The customers will come to you if you do this, and they know that Malacca, its tourism industry, is in line with having Trishaws that provide convenience. And like a local guide and a driver, Malacca town is not that big. It suits the Trishaw thing perfectly. So that is my aspiration towards the Trishaw community. So, which is why I'm starting it. I've been doing it since actively, and since 1 or 2 years ago. I've been training myself, getting all the necessary information to be like a proper guide, to show them all the historical places. I've been doing it. So I just hope that one day, that perhaps the younger generation, those are the ones that are not tainted by a particular bias. So they would be the one that I hope would follow suit what I started, what I'm doing right now. So yeah, I'm hoping for the best.
Okay, does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask?
Yes, sir.
How much would a fully decorated Trishaw cost?
Fully decorated Trishaw cost. For an empty Trishaw to build from scratch, it will cost around 1,500 to 1,800. Plus a simple decoration will cost another 500, but a more elaborate decoration will cost another 1,000. So 1,008 at most, 1,008 plus 1,000. And audio systems usually range around 1,000 to 2,500. So a fully decorated with all its audio system and the lights will cost around more than 6,500. So for my Trishaw, a lot less than that. It's a lot simpler, better, easy maintenance. I just need to wash it. I don't even have to change the flowers every now and then because I'm really lazy.
What is your typical work week? What is your typical work week? Like you wait for customers, how long are your hours, free,
Yeah.
Because it can be physically tiring, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, are you going on flat land? Sometimes you go up St. John's. Do you go that far?
Yeah. Do what? St. John's? No, not really. Not really.
So it's basically flat, but
Yeah.
it's physically tiring.
So usually the Trishaw folks, they would cover the civic zone, which comprise of the Famosa, the buildings area, and the Flor de la Mar, and the civic zone, and the core zone, which is Chinatown, right? So those are the usual places they will cover. But the worst part to me personally about my, normal working hours as a treasure person, as a treasure guide, is that the waiting. Especially when there's very few customers around and there's lots of treasures around. So there's more supply than demand. It can be quite tough and challenging because you need to be fast on your feet. You see, a single mention of the word beca or treasure from a group of tourists from far away would send a group of treasuremen running towards them. So yeah, it can be quite funny sometimes, but this is a way of life among treasure folks. You need to be, a capitalist, an opportunist to not miss that chance to make a living, or else you're not going to eat anything for that day. Yeah, particularly during rough times. I mean, like the part where you need to cycle bigger fellas or heavy weights and the tiring part of cycling and pulling them uphill is nothing compared to the pain when you don't have any customer. When you're cycling an empty treasure. Yeah, when you're cycling even 300 kilo tourist on your treasure, you would have a smile on your face rather than cycling an empty treasure. Well, your face, yeah, is all black and blue. So yeah, so a typical day would start usually at about 9 in the morning and it would end at about 3 in the morning. But these treasure guys, it's not the same person. It's not the same person. You can always see that there are treasures in Malacca between those hours, but they usually have 2 or 3 shifts. So yeah, and most of them, the treasure thing is their second job. They would have usually a day job or a night job. So this is like a part-time thing for most of them. But for me, it's my full-time job, and I usually start around 11 a.m. I would end around 7 p.m. So I would spend half the time marketing, and then another half, if I'm lucky, working, actually working, cycling tourists and giving them a tour. So yeah. Well, not really. Surprisingly, yes. I have this horrible bias that, interesting people who are interested in my form of service are usually foreigners. Oh, how wrong. I was completely wrong, yes. It is actually more related to a state of mind. A state of mind. These types of people who are interested in something different, who are interested in a conversation, who are interested in actually learning rather than just enjoying. But that is actually something circumstantial. If, for example, this particular customer had taken a joyride with a treasure, decorated treasure before, and I approached him, and he would think, oh, this is something different, I might want to try it. But there are also other types of people, when they have tried the treasure before, and this, I hate the most, but not the persons in particular, but this entire circumstance that make this particular type of customer think that since they have taken a treasure, and every other treasure is the same. Oh, so disappointing. So, yeah.
Firdaus, I would like to ask you, does the weather play a part in your business volume?
It does.
Hot days better or wet days better?
I prefer the hot anytime. Yeah, I prefer the hot anytime.
But what about, getting customers? Which sort of weather will bring you more customers?
Sunny, like in between. When it's cloudy and there's no sun and there's no rain. So that would be the ideal weather.
I thought like wet days, more people will,
Not really.
Treasure or something.
Not really. They would usually avoid the treasures, and the treasures would avoid the rain because of the decoration.
What about yours?
Mine. Well, I don't want to torture my tourists. No, I wouldn't want to torture my customers, regardless of all the perfection I've put in. They usually get wet unless they are in an emergency where they are stuck at Jonker and they really want to go to like Hatton Hotel or Ecotrail Hotel for that matter. Then I would do it, but I would be soaked to the bones. Yeah, there's no protection for me except for the raincoat and all, but still it doesn't help because the worst part about the current weather that we have nowadays is that it's like a 1 hour heavy rain and then suddenly it's just really hot and humid, and it doesn't help except for growing mushrooms on your skin. So yeah, and in between the two evils, right, hot or rainy, I would take hot anytime, because when it rains, we Trishaw folks usually have this particular hobby during when it rains. We count the droplets of the rain. Yeah. So yeah. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Charles Jam. I want to share with you a story. I want to bring you back to the late 1950s. That was when my father actually chartered a trishaw rider, and he sends me from my home to the school, to the primary school. And then when the school is over, he will send me back to home. Now this guy, rain or shine, he would do that. I do not know how much he is paid for, but there's one thing I took notice of. He had these flyers, a thick pile of flyers, and on the flyer would be Shaw Brothers, then the name of the cinema, for example, Rack Cinema, now showing Ben-Hur starring Charlton Heston. He would distribute this. I'm sure he's paid this from the cinema or something like that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for sharing. Much obliged. Thank you. Much appreciated as well. Ah, a familiar face.
You're waiting to. I'm going to say something.
I've been waiting for your 300 questions though.
Before I ask you the question, firstly, the person who posed that question from the Facebook group or whatever it is from your page about how do you feel about, you know, that trishaw people, whatever, regarded as the lowest rank of society. So I find absolute intolerable social bigotry, which I do not like. There's no such thing as the lowest rank of society, so you should not regard yourself as that.
Sure, of course. Like I said,
that's one thing. That's the point I want to make.
There are pros and cons to that.
Well, yeah, but for me, actually, nobody is of the lowest rank of society. That, as I said, is social bigotry at worst. Secondly is, I think, and I don't know if you agree, this is also a semi-question, and maybe we have discussed it before when we have met outside for makan or whatever, is that trishaw people should be treated more as an asset, not only as a cultural asset to UNESCO being a heritage site, but also be part of the blue and white collar workers of Malaysia. In other words, they should be given pensions, should be given more of stability, recognition. Don't expect people just to pay licenses which you don't help them maintain their mechanisms, their trishaws, whatever, or you give them subsidies. In other words, there's no subsidies provided for trishaw people. There's no recognition given to them. They live or die on the trishaw, which I have heard from you and from other people I talked to. And
there was a guy once who died on his trishaw.
In other words, do you feel, as I feel, that they should be given this kind of recognition from A to Z and be treated as part of the white and blue collar society?
Right. Interesting, lovely. So that was what I've been hoping for, a lively discourse like this, engaging and nothing boring, keeps the blood pumping. So lovely. So, with regards to what my friend Ros Arifin just mentioned, I think I've touched on most of that, except for one part, about this elderly fella, a trishaw guy. He died on the trishaw. I mean, it's not about the trishaw community per se, but about that person, you know, individually. There's no humanity there. They should have seen that he was underprivileged. It was about a humanity thing. It's not about a group of people trying to vie for something. Don't you have any mercy for that guy? Can't you, like, I mean, provide some aid? I mean, like, no. Yeah, he died on the trishaw. It's so sad. Yeah. Nobody knows. But, yeah, it must be, perhaps. Yeah. So, and with regards to the, what the lady mentioned here, I mean, like, it's quite nuanced. I mean, like, everything depends on the circumstances and depends on the individual that we are speaking of. And there are tourists, there are trishaw guys that are what she mentioned. You know, they have this particular thuggish demeanor, but it had gotten quite lessened nowadays. But I mean, like, based on what I saw, some guides, not all of them, they really capitalize on the Trishawman. They really squeeze the Trishawman folks, right? And then I heard this one particular thing at the Red Buildings area, Firdaus. They would give, the head of the Trishawman group and the guide, they would be in cahoots of giving the lowest price to the Trishawman guys. You know, I mean, like 5 ringgit, 9 ringgit, when they could easily get 20 ringgit for a particular ride. So I mean, like, of course there are going to be certain groups of Trishawman folks who remember, oh, this is the guy, the guide that, you know, I mean, like, really squeezed us. So now it's time for us to take some vendetta. So yeah, I mean, like, it's quite childish, but this is the scene. And I've seen some guides who not just like quarrel and get into a fisticuff with a Trishawman guy, but a taxi guy as well, and a bus driver. You know, it all depends on the individual. You can't use a blanket statement on, you know, a whole group. I mean, like, varies on individual. Like me, I'm a Trishawman guy, but I'm not an asshole. So yeah, really interesting. That's what life is. That's what people are. Which is why, yeah, you know, my friend mentioned about being on the lowest class of society. It gives you perspective. You know, you can't actually see the whole from the top. You will be living in your own bubble, right? Where all you see is the reflection from your bubble and mostly yourself. Self-centeredness, you know, megalomanianism. But if you're from the bottom, you see everything perfectly. It's true colors. Which is what, to me personally, I think being on the lowest class is a blessing. Awesome. I get to see things that most people can't, you know, possibly imagine that they could see. So yeah.
But I think he was also saying that you're not at the bottom.
Yeah, well, yeah.
you're not at the bottom.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, like when she mentioned, that the lady mentioned about me putting, you know, classifying myself as a Trishawman guide by using the word guide. I mean, that's just a marketing strategy because I provide a different form of service rather than a shallow Joe ride and a taxi thing from point A to point B. I show them around. Okay, this is a basic simple thing that would count as a guide rather than a scout. So yeah, a guide, I think, would be much more appropriate and in line with the tourism industry in Malacca. So I market myself by using the word, you know, guide, Trishawman guide. But still, the Trishawman comes first and the guide comes second. It's a marketing strategy. I provide a short tour in the town of Malacca.
Yeah. Firdaus, could I just ask,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, just extending on from that question as well, of if there was an opportunity for you to actually learn and have a proper schedule and a proper learning, like what, yeah, a learning course like what the other guides do, yeah, would you have taken it?
I jumped on it.
Was there anything that was given to you? I jumped on it,
yeah. I love it. Because most of the education I received is from myself. I did it myself from the internet, from the museums. I mean, like from ICSAP, there's this one particular institution that does Malacca's history. I go the distance all on my own, you know, just to get that knowledge that I can have contact when I talk to my customers, right? So if it was given to me, I mean, like, it's like someone giving me money who doesn't want money. So yeah, I jumped on it.
Okay.
So yeah.
There is a course? Yeah, I understand that there's a course.
That's what you heard. They've been proposing it, and it's just on, not just on paper, it's just like something that they just insinuate. I've never seen anything.
Sorry.
I mean, personally.
Yeah,
personally.
no, the courses I'm talking about is a public course. It's not conducted by the government at the moment. It is done by a private institution. It is in Malacca Raya, and the course can be quite expensive. The whole duration, I think, is 1 year, if you can find time to do it. And it costs anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000.
But I thought you said earlier it was about, you know, the government, the authorities providing the guys with courses. There's none. But
it was many years ago.
10 years ago.
More than 10 years ago. Yeah, when they first started this guiding thing.
For
Trishawman people, I heard, but that is different. I mean. But that is different.
There's none nowadays. There's none.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what I heard.
I've heard of it. I think it was in 2010 that, I think it was the Tourism Board of Malacca. They proposed that this particular, if you want to be a guide, the sessions of teachings to be a guide, that comes in different stages, right? 5 stages if I'm not mistaken. So the first two stages were sponsored by the state government for threshold guys who are underprivileged and who doesn't have an SPM. But I wanted to take part in it. It was in 2010, but I couldn't because I have an SPM. So yeah, I wanted to jump on it to get the certificate, but I couldn't. So I was mostly unlucky. Some of the cons of being smart, I guess, but I'm not that smart. Yeah. Yeah.
Are there any questions from the back? Maybe are you from Malaysia? Have you taken a trishaw tour before?
We're working here. We've been here about a year and a half, but we haven't.
Cool.
We haven't taken one, but mainly for me it's because of the noise.
The noise.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
There with that thing moving.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, maybe you can take a tour with me because mine's simpler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'll give you my card later. Cool.
Yeah, you might want to say your number after this. So
Yeah,
that
sure.
everybody
Yeah, will do. Come on that.
Okay, anyone else?
What?
Where did it start? When did it start? The over-decorated trishaws or the actual trishaws? When did the trishaws?
Yeah, before I was born.
I think in the 50s.
Yeah.
After the war.
She has more of an authority
After the war,
yeah.
yeah.
46,
Yeah.
earliest report.
No, because rickshaws were first. And then after that, the trishaws.
So rickshaws were without the bicycle bed, where they take you like, a human representation of a horse or a bullock. So yeah, so it was without the bicycle bed. So nowadays they call it trishaws or lanchas in some parts. Lancha is the thing without the bicycle bed. Yeah, awesome.
I think we were looking at the article that Bert had, which was in the 40s in Singapore. They changed from the rickshaws to the trishaws. So we think it probably came out at the same time.
Yeah.
It's more manual.
Oh, rickshaw is manual. Oh.
Rickshaws are manual.
Oh, rickshaw, yeah. That's the English word for it. Yeah. Cool.
The original text. Anyone else?
No? Mr. Ruben.
I want to know how do you see the evolution of this profession, because you have been working a few years, right? So I want to see your point of view how this profession has evolved and what do you expect for the future?
Yeah.
And also I'm curious to know when a Trishawman gets retired, because
What?
I mean you need to be strong, right? So when do you retire normally?
Oh, when do trishaw guys retire? When they die. Yeah, normally. So I think I touched on the part where what I aspire the trishaw should be in the future. But I mean, like in the beginning, your first point that you were inquiring was that the evolution of the trishaw. It's chaotic and circumstantial at best. They change during the times and the demand and the supply.
For the future, are you optimistic or more pessimistic?
Well, personally, I'm optimistic, but with regards to the trishaw community in general, I'm in between optimistic and pessimistic, and it changes depending on the times and my mood. So yeah, no, just being real, just keeping it real. Yeah. So, any more questions? I'm one of two. Yeah, I'm one of two. There's this other gentleman. Yeah, one of two. I'm one of two. There's two like this. So there's another one, an elderly fella. But I think he's not that well nowadays. I rarely see him nowadays. But yeah.
Is your father still?
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, my father is still around doing the trishaw thing.
He's one of the.
Yeah, the little ones. Yeah. He's a bloody. Sorry. So yeah, bad jokes for you guys. So yeah, but he's just keeping it real. He would be aligned. He would align himself to where the money is. Because I mean, like I said earlier, he's underprivileged and he's not that highly educated. And I mean, he's just out there doing the treasure thing to earn a living, to make a living. Whereas me personally, I'm a bit of a rebel, I guess. So I wanted more than just to earn a living. I wanted, this is who I am. So how else can I show the world who I am, or at least not to show the world, but at least to show to my customers, to the surrounding people who I come into contact with, that this is who I am. I'm Firdaus Muttalib. So this is my own personal way to show people who I am. So yeah, thank you.
No more questions? Okay, last question. What's your phone number?
Alright, no. I wish I had a picture posted up here. So, get your pen and paper. Now, I'll give you my card later on. So yeah, don't worry, I've got tons of cards here. So, and plus, yeah, since you mentioned it, 016-630-2502. Cool. So, is it okay if I go around and pass my card? Cool.
Normally your trial to how long would it take for you to complete all the interesting and places that you wish the tourists like to go? How long?
At most, on average, at most 2 hours, but a maximum will be 3 hours. But it's a rare thing to happen because most customers, they won't linger at a single place too long. So sometimes, due to budgetary constraints, they upfront they will ask how much per hour, and then they will know that a 2 hour will be suffice to cover the civic zone and the core zone of the World Heritage City of Malacca. Then usually I would recommend that they would take just the 2 hour thing, so which costs like 80 ringgit. And then sometimes just to entice them even more, I would give them a discount since they take a 2-part tour. Since I promote initially just one part of the civic zone, one part of the World Heritage City site, which is the civic zone usually. So if they take 2 parts, then I would give them 30 ringgit, a place, like a package. So there's 2 types of packages. I mean, there's 3. If you choose that, or you choose here, or you choose all together. So if you choose one each, the civic and the core zone, then 40 per each. But if you choose both all together, I'll usually give them around 25 per each place, per each location, historical location. So now you know the price. So, cool. So anything else? Don't leave me hanging.
Yeah,
I hate silence.
The trishaw in Penang is different from the next day.
Oh, how to trishaw? Based on my limited experiences, the trishaws in Penang, they mostly consist of Chinamen, rather than in Malacca it's mostly Malays. And so this is okay. So it's a personal. I think my opinion on it is a bit biased. So don't hold on to my personal opinion on that. So, okay, cool. So, I've heard stories that the trishaws in Penang are much more thuggish than the ones in Malacca. So, like I said earlier, I have my own personal, it's not a bias, I mean like a limited source of information. So most of the information I receive about trishaws in Penang are from tourists themselves. So, and yeah, so they say that trishaws in Penang are a bit more thuggish, and they are not that friendly, but I can't vouch on that because it's, like I said, based on their own personal stories. So yeah.
The trishaw itself is different.
Really?
Because the trishaw driver is at the back.
Oh.
The passengers.
Oh, you were saying about the trishaw itself.
The
So,
structure is different.
of course, yeah.
It's on the side, it's on the front. I mean, all the
Well, I think personally, this is a lot safer. Yeah, I've heard stories that the ones in Penang, the trishaw design in Penang, yeah, when the driver gets off the trishaw and the customers are on the trishaw, it will tilt. Quite a spectacle. So yeah, I mean like, I think this is a lot safer. This is a lot safer. It's a sidecar version where it's much more balanced, I think. So yeah. I mean like if the driver is at the back and the tourist is at the front, I mean they get a panoramic view. That would be lovely. But then again, considering the safety parts of it, I mean like, this is like more moderate. I mean like my trash shop, if I remove the hood, they can have the same panoramic view.
Yeah.
So the only thing that would struck to that panoramic view, if I don't wear my perfume, is right next to me. Oh, sorry, you didn't get the joke. So yeah, I think in terms of the trishaw itself, the main difference is that. But in terms of the trishaw community, the difference based on my personal sources of information, yeah, I said it earlier. So yeah, is it okay?
Yeah, it's good. Any other questions? Okay, can I just share a little bit about?
Yeah, sure.
So I think we also. This is just really, when I met Firdaus, it was sort of like, okay, we said that we would start with your trishaw, and that we'll see, and we'll use that as a case study.
Down.
We'll use that as a case study and see whether, firstly, there's a customer base that that will hopefully appreciate these sort of trishaw tours, and so I guess we're hoping that it's a small step to more riders. And like I think what you're saying is that how do we raise the level of
income?
Yeah, exactly. And the community, and income
general,
as well.
And how the society perceives them in the future. I mean, like if they take courses and they get smarter, and then they would, I mean, like, and that at the same time would, I mean, like go hand in hand and increasing their income. I mean, like, I mean, like in the future, if this continues in the long run, I mean, like say 5 or 10 years time, they will be seen as like an asset rather than a liability. So yeah, it's something worth fighting for, I think. And I'm lucky enough to meet Melissa and all these great people that point me to the right direction. So yeah, you can't do anything yourself. Yeah, you need people to help you, you need friends. So it's very important.
Serendipity.
Yeah, serendipity. Yeah. When I met Melissa, that was the first word that came to mind. Oh, thanks.
So thank you for now.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys. Thank you for attending. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much.